I watched Raw, and you watched Raw too, and it just so happened that this was Samoa Joe's debut on Monday Night Raw. And as everybody knows, once again, nobody's going to talk about this because I'm not knocking somebody. Samoa Joe's never wrestled a blow-up doll or a 9-year-old girl competitively, or, fucking super kicked grade schoolers for their birthday or whatever. I've always been a fan of Joe. He and Kurt Angle did the biggest business of TNA's history on pay-per-view, and could have done bigger if shit stain hadn't gotten away. I've always thought he's a superstar just with his look and his attitude and the surliness and athleticism that he's capable of, et cetera, et cetera. I could go on and make it sound like I'm blowing him, but you get the picture. But I've always lusted to see him somewhere presented as he truly can be. And I watched Raw this week. Actually, I recorded Raw. To be quite honest, I did not have 3 hours, but to prep for this show, I knew they were obviously going to say something about the rock and roll after they announced it earlier in the day. So I recorded the show and I zipped through and watched the rock and roll spot, which I got goosebumps on. Just, once again, get Ricky and Robert getting to be seen by a whole bunch of new people, and wrestling being represented. But also I wanted to watch the top guys, or at least people that I would give a chance to strike me as the top guys. And this was Samoa Joe's show. He hit a home run. If people want to know what it means to get over, and actually I would, as far as getting over, I would count the footage from the previous week where he just beat the piss out of poor Seth Rollins. And I'm heartbroken that he's got another knee injury, and I hope it's not bad. But at the same time, I winced when I saw that. But if you count the footage from last week of that attack and the package at the start, and then Joe's performance, everything live on that show, that's the best example of making a star to me that I've seen or heard of from the WWE in how fucking long.
Yeah, a while. I didn't know that was where you were going to pause it for me.
Well, I just come to think of it, they did everything, and Joe did everything that he needed to do, and he was in the ring with Mick Foley, who, of course, I love Mick, Stephanie McMahon, and Roman Reigns, and to be honest, he stole the show because he was the only one that I believed. I don't know that Mick was not comfortable with what he was saying, or whatever, or because he was supposed to kind of be the poo-pooer of the idea, the whole thing, he was down or whatever. But anyway, the point is, in a cast of pretty experienced people, Samoa Joe had passion and emotion, and it looked on his face like he meant what he fucking said. And he was out there. He looked like goddamn Tosh Togo in that fucking suit. He was cool as fuck. He looked like he could fucking kill you, and would. They had just established that he pretty much would and has fuck up anybody that gets in front of him. He looks so badass. I want to, the fucking derby with the goddamn, steel brim, I think it'd been the only thing that he's missing. No, but I used to feel for him so bad, and he'd be frustrated. And I hated it when in TNA, they had the Samoan fire dancers. He was a college-educated guy from fucking California, but they had him followed by Samoan fire dancers and a fake tattoo on his fucking face, and goddamn kidnapped and thrown in the trunk of somebody's car. This badass fucking MMA motherfucker, and all around, fucking explosive volcano personality. They got him kidnapped, and oh my God, what will become of him? Fuck, it was so after 18 years, as Joe noted on the show, and I hope somebody quotes me as saying that, because it's true. After 18 fucking years, and 10 or 12 of those with TNA, he goes on TV one week and they let him be himself for one. What kind of bizarro world is this? They're letting fucking wrestlers go on TV under their own names and be themselves and get over, and they're putting the Rock and Roll Express in the Hall of Fame. Is this somehow, am I being gaslighted?
And, Roman Reigns' real name is Joe. So you had Samoa Joe versus a Samoan named Joe.
Oh, good God.
I'll be here all week.
but anyway, so I'm so happy because Joe, his work as the match showed, and his intensity as the footage of the angle and beatdown showed, his promos and his personality as the live in-ring promo. Some big stars in business, he didn't take a step back and dominated them. So I can't rave enough about Samoa Joe, and absolutely, once again, because I'm not knocking some fucking jack off in a goddamn tutu in fucking Japan that's doing flips with fucking high school kids or whatever. It's not going to get any publicity, but that was a star-making performance. And for all the wrestlers out there that want to get over on TV, well, first you have to be a fucking badass and look like that, but perform like that and get over like that. And to be quite honest, there was a lot of other of the program that I zipped through on my DVR because I didn't have 3 hours, but I watched everything that Jericho and Kevin Owens did, my old friend Kevin. And they, runner up to Samoa Joe, were the two, pretty much they were the only other stars on the program, to be quite honest. At least the way that they were featured and what they did with the time they were given, they were the stars. I'd noticed that Roman Reigns has all the tools, and I want to see in his eyes that he has more fire inside and believes what he is saying and what he is doing at any given moment. I think that's what's missing because he's got everything else. But Jericho and Owens were fucking, I've never dreamed when I was sitting in the kitchen nook of the 2-bedroom Smoky Mountain Wrestling flop house that Jimmy Del Rey and Casey O'Connor and fucking D-Lo at one time, and I don't know who else, but Jericho was sleeping at in shifts. We shot Lance Storm and Chris Jericho's first interviews for Smoky Mountain Wrestling TV for their angle, the first angle I'd put them in, where they'd been attacked and jumped on TV. And it was fucking brutal. And these guys, they were gorgeous physically, and they were fluid athletically, and they fucking were starting to get the business mentally, but they couldn't, as my mother used to say suey if the hogs had them. And Chris was the best of the two, and Lance, this is not a surprise I'm saying this to Lance. We've laughed about it. Chris was the best of the two, and that was like being the nicest guy in fucking prison. And I'm surprised. I'm pleasantly surprised at how obviously Chris Jericho became one of the greatest talkers. That's one that nobody would have called, that this guy is going to be one